Section 408.11 of the National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses specific conditions under which feeder conductors with a grounded neutral and ungrounded phase conductor or conductors are permitted to supply single-phase and two-phase loads. These conditions aim to ensure safety and proper operation of the electrical system. There are three main requirements for this type of installation. Firstly, the size of the neutral conductor must not be less than the largest phase conductor. This is crucial because the neutral conductor carries the unbalanced current between the phase conductors. If the neutral is undersized, it can overheat and potentially cause a fire. Sizing it equal to or larger than the largest phase conductor ensures it can handle the maximum potential unbalanced current. Secondly, the neutral conductor must not be grounded except at the power source. This means that the neutral should only be connected to ground at the main service entrance of the separately derived system where the power originates. Grounding the neutral at multiple points can create parallel paths for neutral current, leading to circulating currents and potential voltage drops. This can also interfere with the proper operation of ground fault protection devices. Thirdly, substantially equal ampere loads must be connected between each ungrounded phase conductor and the neutral conductor. This requirement aims to balance the load in the system. When the loads are balanced, the neutral current is minimized. Unbalanced loads can lead to excessive current in the neutral, voltage imbalances, and increased losses. Therefore, it's important to distribute the loads as evenly as possible between the phase conductors and the neutral. There is an exception to these rules related to three-phase, four-wire delta systems. The exception states that the maximum imbalance of neutral current between the feeders supplying power to a three-phase, four-wire delta load should be 14 amps, based upon the maximum possible imbalance of single-phase loads connected to the feeders. This exception acknowledges that in three-phase, four-wire delta systems, a certain amount of neutral current imbalance is unavoidable due to the inherent characteristics of the system and the types of loads connected. However, the code limits the maximum imbalance to 14 amps to prevent excessive neutral current and potential problems. To further elaborate on these concepts, let's delve deeper into each requirement. Regarding the neutral conductor sizing, the NEC provides specific tables and guidelines for determining the appropriate conductor size based on the ampacity requirements of the circuit. Table 310.16 in the NEC is commonly used for determining the allowable ampacity of conductors based on their insulation type, size, and installation conditions. When sizing the neutral conductor, it's essential to consider the nonlinear loads that may be present in the system. Nonlinear loads, such as electronic devices, can generate harmonic currents that flow on the neutral conductor. These harmonic currents can significantly increase the neutral current even when the fundamental frequency loads are balanced. In such cases, it may be necessary to increase the size of the neutral conductor beyond what is required for the fundamental frequency loads. Regarding the grounding of the neutral conductor, it's crucial to understand the difference between grounded and ungrounded systems. In a grounded system, the neutral conductor is intentionally connected to ground at the power source. This provides a reference point for the voltage and helps to stabilize the system. It also allows ground fault protection devices to operate properly. In an ungrounded system, the neutral conductor is not intentionally connected to ground. While ungrounded systems can offer some advantages in terms of fault tolerance, they also have some drawbacks, such as the potential for higher transient voltages and difficulty in detecting ground faults. The NEC generally requires that systems be grounded unless specific conditions are met. Regarding load balancing, it's important to understand the concept of single-phase and three-phase loads. Single-phase loads are those that are connected between one phase conductor and the neutral conductor. Examples of single-phase loads include lighting, receptacles, and small appliances. Three-phase loads are those that are connected between all three-phase conductors. Examples of three-phase loads include motors, HVAC equipment, and large machinery. When balancing the load, it's important to distribute both single-phase and three-phase loads as evenly as possible between the phase conductors. This can be achieved by carefully planning the circuit layout and assigning loads to different phases in a way that minimizes the neutral current. In addition to these requirements, It's also important to consider the voltage drop in the feeder conductors. Voltage drop is the decrease in voltage that occurs as electricity flows through a conductor. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction and can also reduce the efficiency of the system. The NEC recommends that the voltage drop in feeder conductors should not exceed 3% for power, heating, and lighting loads, or 5% for feeder plus branch circuit. To minimize voltage drop, it's important to use conductors that are large enough for the intended load and to keep the length of the conductors as short as possible. The proper installation of 3-wire feeders to subpanels requires a thorough understanding of the NEC and sound electrical engineering principles. It's always recommended to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. Furthermore, local amendments to the NEC could apply and need to be considered as they can be more restrictive. The 14 amp limit mentioned previously is very important for the exception. Any imbalance over 14 amps means the exception does not apply. When doing electrical work, you should follow all applicable electrical codes to ensure safety. Always to energize electrical circuits and verify proper lockout/tagout procedures before working on them.